The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to A Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast. I'm your host, Miesha Shanell. I am elated, guys. This is my 13th episode. It has taken on a life of its own. I'm just super excited to come here. Now it doesn't feel like work. It feels like a hobby, and each show I get happier and more comfortable. But as you know, as I said on previous episodes, that I created this podcast to ignite the voices of people. I just want to create open dialogue and allow us to be raw. And I invite some extraordinary guests. And today I think this is going to be one of my favorites because it's a topic that I tend not to talk about to just the average person. I have to connect with you in a way that makes me feel comfortable to open up. But if you really know me, you know that I love this topic. But anyway, come along with me on this journey as I show you how to live and love through adversity, and most importantly, how to keep your head up, because we all are going through some things. And I have my assistant with me, and he was just telling me all the things that he's going through with life. And I'm constantly talking to young people and motivating them. And that's what this podcast really is about. It's just to open us up, to show us that, we're going to go through things. Things are going to happen. We're going to have to deal with adversities. But no matter what, you have to stay positive and keep your head up. So today, I'm actually stepping out of my comfort zone, guys. I'm going to talk about a topic that is overlooked and overshadowed. It's a part of me. It's my sexuality, my femininity, but yet the word that describes the most sacred part of my being is prohibited on national television and all over because it's considered vulgar. Today, you guys, I'm talking about pussy. Hey. My pussy, her pussy, your pussy, our pussy. Yes, you heard me right. I said pussy. The muscular canal that we travel through and most of us come out of. I was a vaginal or pussy delivery. But seriously, why is the word pussy considered vulgar when it's slang word that's derived from vulva and vagina? I like saying pussy, can you tell? The word pussy is being censored and is prohibited, as I mentioned before, because it's a bad word. So how can female sexual health and sexuality really be taken seriously? Well, in the studio today, I brought an extraordinary expert, like I said, to assist us in dispelling the myths, removing stigmas and embarrassments that's attached to female sexuality. Dr. Cara Quant is an internal medicine doctor, a sexpert who is passionate about female sexual health. Her passion came about after she realized it was not really something that was talked about, or not really talked about, but acknowledged much in her training while she was in school. She feels that she wants us to be able to have providers who are comfortable in discussing and acknowledgeable with treating sexual health dysfunctions, such as a lack of desire, a lack of arousal, pain with intercourse, and problems with orgasm. She is the founder of Viva La Vulva movement and art exhibits. So if you're like me and you're a multitasker, I want you to real quick go to her IG page. It's Viva La Vulva. It's right there up on the screen, Vulva LA. And look at all the phenomenal pictures of pussies or vulvas that she has. It really is art, you guys. It's beautiful. So go on it real quick so we can reference it and you'll know what we're talking about. That's her page. Dr. Cara is bringing together like-minded people from different backgrounds who have a passion for driving change in the way of female sexual health and the way it's perceived in our society. She's going to help us promote. She wants to help promote and bring more awareness to the topic. Dr. Cara is not just brains. She's also, and you'll see, she's gorgeous inside and out. She's my soul sister, a homegirl, a fashionista, and an adventurer. She spent her adolescent days in Inglewood and later came back to UCLA to go to medical school. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Dr. Cara Quant to A Girlfriend's Guide to Life.
Hey.
Hi, pretty lady.
Thank you for the introduction.
Wow. I had a lot of fun researching you. It's so funny because I get to like spy on you guys because I have to do research. I have to figure out who you are outside of the little thing that that I personally know about you, but like who are you really? So it was fun, and I really like you now. I'm like, I want to be her friend.
I know. No, we definitely need to hang out, especially after this pandemic is over,
yes, right? For sure. So as mentioned, this is for our phone call. So as mentioned, when we did our one-on-one conversation prior to, it's just going to be a conversation. You and I will just talk, and we will have some open dialogues. This show will not be, I already have a disclaimer, it's not for kids unless you want them to know about pussy and sex and masturbation. If you do, then hey, tune in. But this isn't a show for kids. This is actually going to be an adult conversation, female conversation. We have to
and males. Males can also be a part of this as well. Let me tell you.
Right. Yes. You actually mentioned that because men will actually get a lot of insight.
We'll get so much insight into this. Yeah.
Into it.
The more that I've talked about it, the more that I've promoted Viva La Vulva and talked about it on different platforms, the more that I see that men, especially heterosexual men, crave this information. They're like, oh, I didn't know this. I think that there's many men out there that are like, oh, I got it under control. I know how to do this. I know how to go down on a woman. I know how to, move it. And that is not necessarily the case. It's not necessarily the case. So it is for, both people.
That is good. I actually truly believe that too. So before we get started on our sex talk, tell the audience who I affectionately call Dr. C. Tell us who Dr. or Cara is.
Yes. Well, I am a doctor, internal medicine doctor, like you were saying. I am practicing within Los Angeles. I grew up in Inglewood, not too far from here. Yes. And I grew up non-denominational. I had a lot of, but I went to Catholic school, actually. Okay. I went to, or in Catholic church, mass. I've gone to Christian, churches. I have, grown up non-denominational, but I understand, and I've understood since starting, just being a young kid, the power that sex has, but also the shame and the embarrassment and everything that surrounds the topic, especially for the women. And I knew early on that I wanted to be a doctor. In high school, actually, an anatomy teacher brought a cadaver into the classroom, and I was absolutely fascinated from there with the human body. Okay. And from there, I went to UC Santa Barbara for undergrad. And I went to, medical school at UCLA. It was the King Drew program. Okay. And I have been wanting to advocate for women regarding women's sexual health. And that has, everything to do with pain with sex, problems with orgasm, problems with desire, consent. I mean, there's just so much information. The pleasure of it.
Sex with no pleasure is not good.
Not good. But you know what? There's so many people out there that will do it. That will do it for their partner.
Which is selfish to me. I feel like if you are going to do that, then you're not allowing yourself, you're not giving yourself what she needs. because can't just be about sex is not intended for one person. It's two. It's if you're not being pleased, if you're pleasing him and he's not pleasing you, then he's a selfish lover and he needs to get up off of you. Because you can do it yourself.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
So
yes, no, there's people out there who have never had an orgasm before. So I am speaking to you in particular and wanting to want for you to know that pleasure is definitely your birthright. I always say this, and I will continue saying this, that the clitoris, which is part of the vulva, there's only one function of it, and it's pleasure. There's no other functions of the clitoris besides pleasure. So use it. Like, definitely use it. Touch yourself. Masturbate. I totally am in agreement with that.
Yeah, we'll get into
that.
Yep. So tell us what your life passions are. You told me, but I was like, wow. Tell me again.
Yeah. So, I love salsa dancing. That's like a passion of mine. I love being outdoors. I think nature really outdoors and nature, hiking, being near the water. I feel like that brings so much enjoyment into my life. And the other thing is giving information, educating people on women's sexual health, on the vulva, how to bring in more pleasure, what to do and not to do. Just for women to know that the vulva is their power source.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You said letting women know their power.
Yes.
I was like, that was pretty awesome. I'm like, yes. Come through with the knowledge.
Yes.
So I have everybody tuning into your IG page. So they're looking, I'm sure they're scrolling like, damn. So
there are a lot of vulvas on there.
I was this close to telling my son about it, and I was like, wait, I don't know. I was feeling so good.
But they're not real vulvas.
No, it's art. It's art. It's beautiful.
Vulvas,
the way that you can see the vulva in so many different components, aspects. Like it's like your eyes just see vulva when you see it, right?
And that brings me to a point of what is the vulva, because this is also something that is a source of confusion. Especially, just confusion. Vulva is everything that you can see on the outside. So it's the big and the small lips. It's the clitoris, if you can see that. It's the opening to the vagina, but it's technically not considered the vagina. It is technically considered the vulva. So most of the time when we're talking about vagina, we're actually speaking of vulva. The vagina is where you insert tampons, is where you insert. Yes, that is the hole.
So the vagina is the hole, but the I call it pussy. So, but it's vulva.
It's technically vulva. Yes, the outside is technically the vulva. Where babies come out is the vagina.
Yes.
Yeah, the canal is the vagina.
So, yeah, and just even that little small bit of information is enlightening, because we take a sex ed class in 6th grade, and then if you don't have family members that talk about sex, especially in the Black community, my home, I had sisters, so we were able. I learned a lot through my older sisters who said, touch your vulva. Yeah. Look, take the mirror and look at, like, you have hair, you don't like it, shave the hair. It was those things that we got, but a lot of people I learned did not get that, and so I thought, just as girls talking, and now you talk more with your girlfriends because of COVID, and you can't see them, so you find yourself on the phone a lot, and you're hearing things, and you're like, what? Huh? You don't shave, so you got a hairy pussy. Like different things like that you think that everybody has. Like I thought everybody had like a clean vagina, but everybody doesn't.
But you know what? I don't know. Like, hair is another topic that I like to discuss, because everyone does have a different preference.
Yes.
And I feel like when people talk about pubic hair, it can be considered like, oh, it's a source of moisture, or like, you get different odors from it. And so shaving it is better. And it's not necessarily the case. The hair is there for a reason. It is there for a reason.
Yes.
It's there to protect
protect the mucus or the mucosa of the vagina.
Okay.
And so it helps to protect it. Not saying that everyone has to, have
walk
hair
around with a hair.
with the bush. Not everyone does have to do that, but there is a reason for it. And I think that the porn has a lot to do with people wanting to have it. Yeah. Completely off.
Yeah.
The Brazilian wax.
That's because it's not talked about. You don't know. So you go off of what you see. So if you see a porn or you see a naked scene, she doesn't have hair. And hair could be beautiful if you tame it and do things. I particularly don't like hair. I'm not against hair, but for me, I just like a little hair, like a peach fuzz.
Okay.
Not like this big, you put on a tight dress and you just see hair. I don't care for that, but
to each their own.
Yes,
to each their own. If you want to have it, you definitely rock it. Yes.
Talk to us about Viva La Vulva.
So Viva La Vulva was a passion project, or is a passion project of mine. It was created in the beginning of 2018.
Okay, so it's a toddler.
It's a toddler.
Like
yes,
mine.
It is a toddler.
I'm an infant.
It's in its early stages.
That's awesome.
But it is. I created it because in medical school and in residency, we didn't get a lot of information about sexual health for women.
So with that, what do you mean by that? Like, so I know that men's health is extensively talked about.
Oh,
so
course.
and so female sexuality and female sex health is just like brushed over, or like.
So no, I mean, okay. So when I talk about it, like in medical school, we have to know about periods. We have to know about like the different hormone peaks during during fertilization. Like we need to know about
basics.
The period.
Yeah,
we knew.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone knows about the basics.
Okay.
But in terms of people, if someone has a question or if a patient comes in about pain with sex, well, what do I do? In medical school and in residency, I didn't get that information.
Okay.
If they had pain, if they're having like a lot of tightness, especially with some type of insertion, if they're having problems with orgasms, if they've never had an orgasm before, I wasn't the person to be like, oh, you need to go to this person, or you need to do this, or you need to use this medicine. Like there was not that information. So I had to seek that information. I went to conferences that specifically talked about women's sexual health and what to do in a certain situation. People who have chronic yeast infections or chronic bacterial vaginosis infections, those are things that we talked about in these conferences, but that aren't necessarily talked about within training.
Got it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And those are like not things that are every day. I mean, yeah, that bacteria and all that is normal for a woman's body, but no, you wouldn't. I get that. It makes sense. It clicked. At first I'm like, what? I'm like, how dare, that is so sexist.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we learned a lot of information about erectile dysfunction, what to use, what medicines, how the medicines worked. I mean, there's not a pill, there's not a little pill that a woman can take and immediately have an orgasm or immediately whatever. We're a little bit more, we just need a little bit more finesse. I wouldn't say complex, because a lot of people will say women are complicated, women's sexual health is complicated, and that is not the case.
I agree with you. Yeah. We don't require, we're not as simple as men, but we're not as complex as they make us. You just have to know how to tap into us. And once you tap into us, we're like little butterflies.
Exactly.
Yes. How can the audience find Viva La Vulva and support you in your movement? Because it's a movement, and I have a vision of a T-shirt that I'm gonna actually make. I see one.
Okay.
It's like I'm gonna mail it to you just out of the blue. I gotta get it together in my mind. But I thought about it. But how can one be a part of your movement?
Well, so going back to like what I'm doing, I am wanting to promote women's sexual health more. And so I've had art exhibits where I've had artists doing some depiction of female anatomy, and then near each piece is some information about women's sexual health. Like, did you know that there's 8,000 nerve endings in the clitoris? That's
8,000?
8,000 nerve
so we
endings.
can just have a best orgasm ever.
8,000 nerve endings in the clitoris. So this information was on the walls, and I had panelists come every couple weeks, and we had conversations where we had an audience. This is pre-COVID, but we had an audience, and we had people asking questions to these experts. And so I've also developed a podcast, and the podcast also brings on guests and people who are not real. I mean, who are experts. Who are doctors, who are pelvic floor physical therapists, and also people who are more like on the esoteric side. Yes, yeah, I've talked to you. Cool. We had a conversation about the pussy oracle that I had on the podcast.
I listened to that. That was pretty awesome. Like, oh yeah, I'm tuning into that.
Yeah.
That was
so
awesome.
it just is helping to empower and uplift the vulva. The vulva. Yeah, and vulva for vulva owners and not vulva owners. And so I have different platforms that I have developed over these last couple of years. Viva La Vulva LA is the social media handle. So you can go onto Facebook, you can go onto Instagram, and it's Viva La Vulva LA. You have to have the LA because it is different than Viva La Vulva. Yeah. And then the same for the website. It's Viva La Vulva LA.org. Yeah.
Awesome. Go on her the website is pretty phenomenal too. I love your mission statement.
Yeah.
And you click on the pictures. Pretty awesome. I was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, oh my God, look at that. Like, it's very interactive and it's beautiful. It's nice. It depicts women's sexuality, our femininity. Good job on that.
Thank you.
We're gonna continue.
My brother did it.
Did he?
He did. He's really good at doing websites.
Oh, he did good. Oh, I need to talk to him.
Yeah. So if you want,
for sure, it was very innovative. Very beautifully done and colorful, and you have videos, you have
videos,
pictures,
on there.
You have
pictures from past events.
Yeah, where you were the narrator for some sitting on the panel. It was pretty good. It was awesome. That's where I realized I was like, she's a fashionista. The hot pants, you got on some leather pants. I'm like, come through, Dr. C, with your leather pants and red lipstick on.
I mean, awesome. It's all a part of it. I do. There's different things. I also feel like Viva La Vulva has helped me. I think it is. I've heard it as me search. So instead of research, it's me search.
Yeah,
so whatever you kind of go into, you're doing it for, you either have like a gravitational pull towards it or whatever it may be. So I've learned a lot about myself through this mission, through Viva La Vulva. Yeah, I've learned a lot about myself. And leather is really fun.
Leather and lace, red lips, can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong.
And velvet. I like velvet too.
And velvet. We have it all up here.
It's hilarious. So let's just get into it. We skirted around it, talked. I just want to talk about sex. I started late. I started having...
What is late?
20.
Okay.
So I was like, because all my friends had already done it. So late, I guess maybe not to you. Like, that ain't late, girl. That was early.
Everyone has a different story. But yeah, 20...
I was in college.
It's all relative. It's all relative.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like when I did start, I never stopped.
Okay.
And I have no desire. Like right now, I'm practicing abstinence because I'm just giving myself a break because I'm dating somebody and I want to see how we are without it.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
And so I don't understand when people are 45 and they've never done it. Or they've never masturbated. They've never opened up their vagina and found their clit. Like, how can you want pleasure from someone when you're too afraid to take your finger and to see what it is that you like? How do you like it? Should he move it here? You got to know how to please yourself before anybody else can please you. So...
Yes.
And we have a caller, too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I completely agree. You do need to know how to pleasure yourself, you need to know what feels good. Is it soft? Is it hard? Is it, like what sensations that you like? And it's not just in the genitals, because, I mean, yes, it is a major source of pleasure. Also the nipples, also just other body parts. Like there's erogenous zones that we have that we don't necessarily talk about.
Let's
like
talk about
the neck, the
right,
the stomach, the back. I mean, there's other places the toes. Yes, no, there are other places on the body that can give you pleasure. Yeah. But I would also say, so it's knowing your own self. But it's also being able to communicate with your partner, which I feel like is a big thing. And I know for myself, early on, I was not able to communicate not able to tell my partner, like, go faster or go slower or do this or do that. I think I was
that hurts,
or this hurts or this doesn't hurt, or I want it more, or like I was very timid and shy about like having that conversation, because I was like, well, what is this partner going to think? What are they going to say? What are they going to think?
They're going to think I'm whack.
Yeah,
they're going to not like me.
They don't think I'm rejecting them. I mean, like there was just so many things that I had in my head, and I was like, so as I've gotten older, I've realized the importance of, yes, not only knowing myself and knowing what I like and what I don't like, but also talking with my partner about what I like and what I don't like. Yes. Yep. And for the people who have partners that you have spoken to them and they don't want to do what you are requesting, then that's like that. Yeah,
y'all know me.
No.
I
That's a no.
I don't know. You got to go.
You gotta go. You gotta
like,
go.
If you're with somebody and he or she, hetero or homosexual is not in this to please you as well, they're selfish. And if they're selfish in the bed, then think about all the other areas of your life that they're going to be selfish in. That's one serious component.
Yeah.
If they can't pleasure you or don't want to pleasure you, they're in it just to stick their dick in your pussy, and it's for them. So let's take our call.
Okay, let's
So we have to put our headphones on.
Okay, so we got here.
Let's see who is here.
I'm excited.
I know. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Who's this?
Hi. This is Katina.
Hi, cousin.
Hi, cousin.
Hi. She's calling. This is my cousin. She's calling us all the way from Austin, Texas.
Hey. Hi.
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. This has been a really good talk, and it has been not only informative, but I just appreciate the conversation because, like you, I grew up in a Christian household, and, that topic was very taboo, and even down to just the normal things that happen with the female body, like your menstrual cycle. I remember my mom when she told me that it was going to happen, it was always a whisper. And everything was like, if you need Pat, it's a whisper. And we don't talk about it. Right. And so I never really understood all of the dynamics of being a female and what happens with our body. And instead of my mom having a conversation with me about sex, my dad did. And it was so embarrassing. And I cried. I didn't even know why I was crying. I think I was like 12 or 13. Anyway, so, you get to womanhood and then start having children, and you really don't even know all the things that you need to know about sex and just what it involves besides just making babies. So I learned a lot of it on my own. Yeah. And then when it comes to just the female, just our body parts, I was very embarrassed with my first child because, there are all these people in the hospital room, and you're just wide open. Mm-hmm. So after my first one, I was just like, oh, well, there's no point in being embarrassed about what you have. I mean, everybody has seen it. So now I'm like 3 children in, I'm not embarrassed at all anymore. But
wide open. Look at my
vagina. I'm like, whatever. We all have the same things.
Yeah.
But it would have been nice to know these things much earlier in my life so that it wasn't such a taboo topic. And I was the first time with my husband, I was really embarrassed because he was a lot more experienced than I was with sex. And just pleasure and, all the things that are part of what you guys have talked about today were just, a lot of stuff was foreign to me. And so I think it's important to have these conversations and not approach it as a taboo subject.
Right.
And so I've tried to do that with my own children. It's still embarrassing because I'm the one talking to my sons, but at the same time, like, dude, you got to know.
You
and
do.
You gotta know.
Gotta have the
And my daughter
conversations.
too.
Yeah.
My daughter too. I'm like, you have to know and you have to understand. Like, this is nature. It's not embarrassing. It's nature. It's what God has given us. And so I appreciate this topic. So
Yes. The whole animal kingdom does it. Like, animals do it, apes and chimpanzees and, fish and I don't know. There's butterflies. I mean, like everyone on this planet does it, not just humans. So, I mean, that is a different perspective. Right. And also going back to what you're saying about periods and like not really knowing any much information, or like it was a whisper when it was talked about. I have seen, and I would love to do this and to make this happen, but there are these things called red tints. So women, especially when you first start your period, are taken and like pampered.
Awesome.
And all of the women in their community, their cousins, aunts, mom, sisters come and like have conversations about sex.
I love that.
About periods, about what to do, about, advice that I have gotten over the years or that I have learned from having periods for so many years. I mean, like it can be very empowering to have and to know people are supporting you during your first period or during like each period.
That
each
is
month.
Phenomenal.
Yes.
That's a phenomenal idea. Imagine because nowadays when we were growing up, we didn't get our periods to 16, 14, 15. Now girls are getting them as young as 9 and 10.
Yeah.
And they have to carry a purse when they weren't carrying purses, and it's all about being afraid to get up out of your seat because you're afraid you're going to have blood on your pants, like all these things. But you go away and you're taught everything that is needed. So it becomes a normal part of your life is genius.
Yeah. I would love to see something like that for the Black community.
Right. So Katinya is my big cousin, and we have girl talks all the time. And I always say to her, girl, and I crack her up. I'm like, girl, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So she knows that I'm a wild child. I'm like, girl, because she's single. And I'm like, did you have some sex? She's like, you need to have some sex.
Look, it's not like I'm not trying not to.
Right.
Hello.
I know. It's just the pickings are slim, but I get it.
But I would like to say, I don't know how old you are, and I'm not asking, but I would like to say and add, I actually had a OBGYN at my last art exhibit. It was earlier this year. It was before the pandemic started. But she was talking mainly to menopausal women. And she was saying that exact same thing. If you don't use it, you lose it. And so generally what happens is the vagina, the vagina or the canal, it atrophies, or like the tissue it shrinks down. It also, dryness does come as a product of removing the estrogen from the body. And so what happens is, as time goes on, and if a woman doesn't insert something into the vagina on a regular basis, or if they aren't having sex, then they actually can have a kind of stenosis, or like a narrowing of the vagina, which it can take some time to reverse that if that were the case. But yeah, if you don't
it's a muscle.
it's a muscle.
It's a muscle, and it tightens back up.
And if you don't use it, you will lose it.
See, you be thinking I'm crazy. I say things, and they're like, "That girl be saying." I'm like, "All right," and I'm going about my business.
But there's some truth to it.
Okay, so we're gonna segue into it. So we still have her on the phone. So, cousin, is there anything else you would like to share or say?
Well, no, I think that's in regards to just sexual health. I also wanted to just bring the topic of just general health, women's health in general, and I'm sure this is something you can speak to, Doctor, as well, is the importance of constantly checking yourself and going to the doctor if you think something is wrong. Yeah. I recently, a year ago this week, I had a hysterectomy because I had what was called uterine fibroids, and I had no idea what they were. And by the time my periods were horrible for about almost a year. I had really, really heavy periods to the point where I was changing probably every 30 minutes, and I was using the Super Plus tampons. Wow. And it was plus a pad, and on some occasions I had a double pad. It was crazy. I didn't know what was going on. So by the time and I'm a pretty healthy person. I run, I work out, I rollerblade, and I'm very active. So to have something so abnormal happening, I didn't know what was going on. And so I just think I would love for you to speak to the importance of going to the doctor when at the first sign that something is wrong, and not being afraid of whatever that diagnosis is.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you brought this up. This topic is huge. Fibroid is such a big thing within the Black and the brown community. Yes. And there are so many women out there that are getting hysterectomies because of the same thing. They have fibroids, they're bleeding to a point where they're actually becoming anemic, or their blood count is dropping. Yep. And it's like, well, this is the solution, is to either put you on some medicine, put you on some birth control pills, or if it's going on and that isn't working, then it's removing your uterus. And I have seen many women coming in with the exact same thing. They're in their 40s, early 50s. They can still have they were still having periods, but because of the fibroids, it did, in discussion with the OBGYN, the decision was made to have a hysterectomy. So this is a huge topic, and yes, and there's so many things that I can, say about it. But to bring to your point, yes, it is important to get checked on a regular basis. And if you are having very heavy periods where you are bleeding, using a couple of tampons, or like super tampons or pads an hour or every, couple hours, like, you should be checked out. That you should definitely be checked out. And so, yes, that's a big thing. Also, mammograms. I mean, mammograms are also another thing that, having a conversation with your primary care doctor, your OBGYN, or your primary care doctor or OBGYN about when would be best to do a mammogram. Like, these are all things that have been put out by different medical societies, to help improve our health, or to screen for certain things like breast cancer. There is no screening for uterine cancer or for uterine fibroids, but doing an ultrasound can give us some information about if there are fibroids there or not. So yes, it's such a big topic to talk about, and
part 2.
But yes, definitely part 2.
Yeah.
And there is I would like to say that there is a woman out there. She is not a medical doctor, but she has a lot of information, and it has a lot of information, especially for Black women, regarding this topic. Queen Afua.
She's phenomenal.
She's a holistic.
She's amazing.
Person, she's
like a holistic, naturopathic doctor.
Naturopathic, I would say, she's a naturopathic doctor. I actually went to Egypt with her earlier this year in February. I did.
So I heard you on that podcast with the essential oil.
With essential oil.
So the sacred
woman.
I'm interested in actually looking at the conference. I'm not sure if she's doing it because of COVID, but I would definitely be interested in partaking in her conference, her food too, her food.
Yes, she's vegan, so she's not doing any of the meat products. She's doing plant-based only, and it really does have an effect on your body. I mean, what we bring into our body is so important, and I don't think that a lot of us realize that, how the importance of it. But she talks about how, you know, drinking green juices in the morning, and, you know, having your vitamins, and eating plant-based foods, and, you know, staying away from certain things like sugars and processed foods. And I mean, there's just, she has a whole meats. Yes. She has a book called Sacred Woman. She has conferences in person that she does, but she also does teaching online. So I would say if you are a woman that is dealing with fibroids or dealing with, you know, heavy periods, and you don't want to do the medical approach yet, you can go and follow Queen Afua, because she does help a lot of women.
She's a staple in the community here. She is well known in the holistic community. Yeah. She's a sweet soul. I'm actually looking into inviting her as a guest.
Okay.
So I'm putting it out there into the universe that she will say okay and yes, and like you were like, sure, like you were so awesome. But cousin, I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. She's a journalist and a TV host, and my cousin is pretty phenomenal. Give a shout out to your socks. Talk about your socks real quick since you called us. Plug in real quick.
I feel like I'm many times going in 10 different directions, but I have a sock company. I invented magnetic socks to stay together in the laundry so you never lose them. They are knitted from bamboo. They're sustainable. They're amazing. They're super soft. They're extra cushioned, and they last longer than most pairs of socks.
They're cute.
And so that is my passion project. 3 children, and we were constantly losing socks. I was like, this is crazy.
Yes. I was like, do they go to sock heaven? Like, where are they going? Like, where is the sock going? Where does it go? Socktopia. Where there's just like one sock. Yeah, one
and then you end up throwing it away because you're like, or you wear a Mitch-Mac because, so.
Right.
Yes. Awesome.
Crazy.
That is dope.
Thank you,
cousin. And then I wrote a book a couple of years ago called Married to a Narcissist. It was my experience through a very toxic relationship, which Maya and I have a lot that we share in common in regards to our ex-husband. So, I had to get it all out.
Yep.
So it's out there.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for being brave and being an entrepreneur and just being amazing. I love you and appreciate your support.
I love you too. I'm so proud of you, and thank you so much for letting me call in today.
Thank you for calling in,
thank
girl.
You for the question.
Yeah, that was an awesome question, and thank you for giving us being brave enough to tell us your testimony. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right, you guys.
All righty, talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right,
Bye.
All right, we're going to keep going. We have a few more minutes, but I want to talk about sex, pleasure, and desire. So, right?
Let's talk about it.
Go over without talking about that. So, like, masturbation. I've had a lot of things happen to me as a child, but sexual molestation is not something that I've dealt with.
Okay.
Thankfully. But I think that for me, I was sexual early. Like, I don't know what early means, but like around, I didn't get my period to 16, but I remember like 13, 14, I became like hormonal.
Yeah.
And my breast and my vagina was like always like tingly, and I was scared of boys. And just one day in the shower, I just started touching myself, like as I was washing, and I was like, and I became one with myself. And I believe in masturbation, and I have spoken to a lot of women that don't touch.
They frown on it.
And I can't say that. Like my soul sister friends, sister girlfriends, they know that, because I'll tell you, I'm like a nudist. I walk around with, I'm okay with my body. I don't believe in plastic surgery and all that. It is what it is. Either you like me or you don't.
Yes.
I wear some lashes and stuff, but I'm not augmenting my body to feel better or prettier. I like who I am.
Yeah.
But a lot of us don't masturbate. Let's talk about masturbation and what it does for us.
Okay, so masturbation, yes, I completely agree with going to you talking about, you being young and like discovering yourself throughout our lives. Like even when we're in our like 4, 5, 6, we're exploring the world, including our bodies. Yeah. And so that is it's a completely normal thing to touch yourself, but I know I'm not a parent, but like I know for parents who, see their kids touching themselves, it's like, no, that's bad. That's wrong. Slapping their hand away. They don't know what's going on. So like I think we start early on with exploration.
Because boys touch. I have one son. He's 19, and I remember around 5, he would just touch it. I guess he started feeling tingle. I don't know. I didn't ask, but one day he just came in. He was about 7. He was like, "Mama." It was early in the morning. His penis was hard. Yeah, and he was erect, and I was like, yes, that is normal. That is what happens with boys when they wake up. Like, I didn't want him to think that it was a bad thing. Yeah. To the point when he grew hair, he came and was like, I got hair. I'm like,
I'm sure as a parent, there's some things that you just don't want to see.
Thank you for feeling comfortable enough coming to me. That's where we draw the line. And even around 3, 4, unfortunately, because he was a boy, I couldn't walk naked anymore. But now that I'm home alone,
you can do what you want.
Do what I want. Yeah, masturbation. So let's dispel the myth that it's bad. Or you're not. It's a sin to touch yourself. Like if you're following your religion and they tell in your Bible or your Quran or whatever it is that you read, telling you not to, then you follow that. But some of us are okay with it.
Yes. No, some of us are okay with it. Some of us are okay with it but don't talk about it. Yeah. Some of us are not okay with it but still do it. I mean, like there's so many different perspectives out there. And I would say, like I said earlier, whoever created us, I do believe in God, but whoever created us did put a clitoris on us, especially for women. Yeah. And like, it's only used for one thing, which is pleasure. So I feel like that's a sign, more than a sign that it's okay to have pleasure in our lives. There's so many benefits of masturbation. I mean, like you can talk about it. I have done this before, but like going to sleep. If you are not able to go to sleep, you can masturbate and that can help you go to sleep. Yeah. It can calm you down. You can calm down your anxiety. It brings blood flow to the area. You definitely want it's use it or lose it. So, using it on a regular basis.
Even when you have cramps, like you're
even when you have cramps. Yes, even when you have cramps. I mean that there are what is it? It's oxytocin. But there are things that are released when you have an orgasm. Oxytocin is one of them, and pitocin is the thing that will start contractions will dilate. When
you're about to deliver.
Yes, when you're about to deliver, it's the thing that dilates the cervix. So like the hormones are a big thing that are happening throughout our body all the time that we don't even know, and it can definitely help with cramps. Like if you are having some severe cramps, have an orgasm and your cramps will get better.
Open your labia up.
Labia.
The labia. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Labia majora and minora.
Open it up and find it. But I hear in your research that sometimes it's your clitoris it may not be exposed.
Yes, you have a clitoral hood. And so the hood is like a little protective hood, just like if you have like a hoodie on,
Okay.
and you can pull it back and you can expose it, or when you are aroused, it also will come out.
Peep out.
Yes, I
It's
mean
a
it's just
little-
it's just like for a male. Like if
Yes.
a male is uncircumcised, once he is erect, then the
head.
Yes, the head will come
So
out.
nasty.
The head will come out of that foreskin. So it's the same for women.
Yes,
Yes, it is the same for women.
it's not a bad thing. So tonight, if you're single or if you with your husband, tell him to find it. Like explore your body. It is okay to be one with yourself. It's safe. You get to explore and see what it is that you like. It's intended for you to just it's better than food.
Yeah, it's
Like, I'm not a foodie, so I'll take sex over food.
And what I would also say is to add to, lubrication is not a lube. Using extra lube, using additional lube is not a bad thing. I think it is underutilized.
Yeah.
People think that it's bad. They think that, we should, for women, vulva owners, that there should automatically be lubrication. And sometimes that's not the case. There's certain medicines that cause a lack of lubrication. There's hormone level, hormone states within our bodies that cause a problem with lubrication. It's okay to use some lube.
It is.
It is definitely okay to use some lube. And I had a podcast where I talked all about lube, because there's so many lubes that are out there.
There was the girl was on the show. She made one. There was a podcaster that was talking about your essential oil, and she made one.
Yes. So we talked about essential oils, and the power of essential oils. But lubes, the lubes that are out there, there's so many that are out there, and there's a lot of irritants that can cause a pH imbalance of the vulva for vulva owners. So you can check out my podcast and listen to that episode, because it really does give like a breakdown, because there's oil-based lubes, there's water-based, there's silicone, which ones work best with condoms, which ones don't, which ones you can use with toys, which ones you can't, which ones put you at risk for having, more like bacterial vaginosis and yeast infections. So there's a whole science behind different lubes out there. But it is okay to use lube, and I strongly recommend just putting it by your bedside.
Yep. Boom, right there. Tell us how you can they can find your podcast, because it's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, if we want more conversation like this, her podcast, she has a lot of information, valuable. I went through more than half, and it's a lot, more than half, and I'm still going to continue to go on and really just get educated for myself. Tell us how you can find it.
So you can go onto the website, so www.vivalavulva.la.org. So you can find it there, or you can go on to iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and look up Viva La Vulva LA, and you will find the podcast. It's me on the front with Viva La Vulva on there.
Having a little
with a little beret. Yes, with a little beret. But it's been a lot of fun for me to do the episode.
You can tell.
It's been a lot of fun.
It's effortless too. You're just like talking, and the conversation is so cool. I learned a lot. I'm telling you, I learned a lot. Before we go, we've actually been talking for a long time now.
That's crazy.
I know.
But we can talk about you said it's your favorite topic. It's my favorite topic. So we can talk about this all the time.
All day.
All day. Yeah.
And I talk to guys, and they're like, I haven't met that many women that are just open to talking about sex, because it's like it's not I'm not afraid of it, and I'm not shy about it.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing for me. I feel like it's a natural thing. Either you like it or you don't. There's a lot of women that don't, and I'm encouraging you to like it, to see why. If you don't like it, it's something wrong. So we're going to segue into that. Should sex hurt?
No. Well, only if you want it to hurt.
Yes.
Yes.
If you're like, he's going crazy on you, but like
If you want that, yes. If you want that. But no, sex is not supposed to hurt. It is not supposed to hurt.
So if it hurts, then
there is an issue, and it should be addressed. It should either be addressed if it's like a lack of lubrication, more lube, if it's tightness, going to seek a pelvic floor physical therapist. if it is like embarrassment just of your body. I mean, like there's so many reasons where a woman can have pain with sex, but that should not be the case. It should not be the case.
Right.
Unless you want it.
Sex feels good.
It's pleasurable. I mean, for any, men out there, like if a man were to have pain with sex, do you think that he would say something? He would probably say something, right?
He would be at the doctor like,
what is going on?
Quickly, because that's their thing. Like, and I don't think that it should be, I feel like if it's okay for a guy to be open with his sexuality, to say, oh yeah, I like the fuck, I like to have sex. Like, it's okay. You're not looked upon. He's not frowned upon to say that. But if a woman expresses her sexuality and say, hey, I don't like multiple partners, but I do like to have sex with my partner and with myself, you're kind of like shunned upon. It's almost like where you're like, do I want to put that out there? But you got to get to a place where you don't care what people think anymore. And
even if she does want multiple partners. Like, I feel
that
like
too.
As long as she's doing it safely and as long as, she is a consenting adult.
That is true.
That is, with other consenting adults, then it's okay too. Yeah, I know there's a double standard that's out there. I would like to see it, dispelled because it's crazy. I don't understand how men can have it, but women can't. But there's a lot of people out there that want it and that own it.
Yeah. Just like you could say dick.
You can say dick on TV, yes.
Yeah, you can't say pussy.
No, you can't say pussy or vagina.
Vagina or vulva. You can say, I don't even know if vulva. I don't
know if you can say vulva, actually.
I looked it up to see, like, can you say pussy on TV? And it was like, no, you cannot. It's like the network. And I'm like, well, we're going to say pussy on my show.
We can say whatever we want. Yes.
Anyways, this has been so fun.
It's
been definitely enlightening. Before we go, I want you to plug yourself. Totally tell us how we can support you, what you need from us, and go from there.
Okay. Yes, definitely. You can find me on social media, Viva La Vulva LA. Also, I'm on Instagram at Dr. Cara Quant, DrCaraQuant. I love collaborating with people that are passionate about sex, especially women's sexual health. I will be doing some things in 2021. If it's not an in-person art exhibit, it will be like a virtual art exhibit. So for artists who have done something related to the vulva or women's sexuality, also just different types of artists. So not just, I've had sculptures or sculpturists, I've had painters, I've had drawers. Like, there's been so many people that I've collaborated with or that have been in the art exhibit. So if you can help in some way, or if you can contribute in some way, or if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, then hit me up.
Awesome. Yeah. Hit her up.
Hit me up.
Before we go, I want you to give, I have one last question. Mm-hmm. What advice, because you're inspiring, we didn't get a chance to talk about your story of your teacher trying to discourage you from becoming a doctor, but what advice would you give an inspiring black or color,
person of color?
Person of color. Uh-huh. I was going to say colored because that's what they say in Africa. You color. A black or person of color medical student. Inspiring medical student. Just continue. Like, if this is really a dream of yours, if this is something that you really want to do, then go after it. Maya was saying that, I want to say it really quickly, but there was a person in college that told a guidance counselor that told me as a pre-med that I didn't have what it took to be in medical school and to be a doctor. And I am here now. I am a doctor. I'm thriving. And so for the people out there, those are just fuel. I think those people out there are just put in your path as fuel to the fire. So if you really want to do medicine, it is a long path, but it's definitely a rewarding path. So if you want to do it, then definitely do it, and put people on your side that are also advocating for you and that are mentors. So other doctors, other people that are in the medical field that can help you to get to where you want to be. Awesome.
Yes.
See, we have it. So if you have any questions, if you need any more information about Dr. Cara Quant, you can hit me up on social media, Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast. It's actually on Facebook is Girlfriend's Guide to Life, the way it's spelled, Life. And on Facebook, it's Girlfriend's Guide to Life, Lyfe.
You mean Instagram, right?
Yeah, what did I say?
You said Facebook.
Okay, yes. Facebook is Life.
Yeah.
And Instagram, thank you, is Lyfe. So I am there. Subscribe. Actually go on to YouTube under Morris Media and hit the subscribe button, because I need you guys. I need your followers. You know, I'm new to this and I'm trying to get subscribers. It's difficult. I don't know how to do it. I don't even know how to get Instagram friends. It's like all too much. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in again and being here being here bi-weekly, listening to me, following me, and giving me the energy to keep going. And to Dr. C, thank you for joining me. We'll have to do a part 2.
Yes, we do. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Shout out to Felicia at Morris Media for allowing us to use her studio here in the city. Love you guys. Peace. Happy holidays. And if you have anybody that need anything, please send me an email at MAIYoung0718 If you need anything, write me a letter. My Emancipated Youth, keep your head up. I love you guys. Peace.